Hey, JC Runquist here with Nashville Dirtworks, NashvilleDirtworks.com. Just want to thank you for joining us today. You've made a great choice by doing so. And today we want to talk about building your relationships, the basics to building relationships with others or building relationships with people, building relationships with maybe your clients, your future customers, maybe your spouse, your children, your family, your friends. Just what are some general basics on building your relationships? So a couple things. First of all, we want to build our relationships. If you're going to build a relationship, you've got to communicate. Communicate is like the basics for building a relationship. Communication is a two-way street. So if you communicate with someone and they communicate with you, then there's a good chance that you can start beginning to build that relationship. So when you communicating is not just speaking or thinking about what you're going to say. Communication, first of all, is listening. So when someone's speaking to you, you want to listen to them. So I'm going to write that up on the board here. Communicate is number one. Communication. That is the first thing, one of the first things in beginning to build successful relationships, whether it's with your family, friends, clients, future customers, so on and so forth. So communication, listen to them, listen to what's going on in their lives. And you know, the saying goes about people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's very, very true. So communication is number one. Secondly, when you communicate, you're listening to them and then you're responding accordingly. And in the business world, one thing about communication I would really suggest, really recommend, is that when you're communicating with someone, or you're out there on the job, or maybe you're at the retail sales counter, don't be thinking about selling. Be thinking more about solving. How can you help your client? How can you help this customer? Put yourself in their shoes about what their issues are, what their needs are, and be real, be sincere, be transparent. That goes so much farther than trying to be salesy and all the hype and all this stuff that so many people get caught up in doing. So just be yourself, because there's only one you, and communicate. Listen to your client, listen to others, listen to your spouse, listen to your children, what's going on, and truly seek the greater good of what the issue is. So communicate, listen, learn, seek, and try to work on, instead of selling, try to work on solving the thing at hand, the issue at hand. Secondly, after communication, we're going to go with a follow-up. So follow-up number two. So when someone shares with you what's going on in their life, and maybe it's just a simple, hey, we'd like to have you over for dinner, and the ball's in your court. The next thing is for you to do is to follow up them. So if you want to have friends, like the good book, the Bible says, it talks about, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly. So show yourself friendly, and your friend cluster is going to grow. So follow up, whether it's a client, if you send out a potential email that's got a bid or an estimate in that, don't just let that be sent out. The email may never show up in their inbox. It may hit their junk file. So you want to follow up. You want to reach out to them, with a phone call or a text or a message, or through Messenger. You're going to reach out to them and just simply follow up. Now, you may not catch them on the first time, but continue to follow up. Be persistent. Be determined. People are busy. Keep that in mind. People are very busy, and sometimes it's not about them ignoring you. It's not about them running from you, unless you just totally, made a mess of the situation. But just simply follow up. Continue to follow up. Be persistent. Be polite. Be courteous. Be kind. Be treating them like you would want to be treated yourself, and it will all work out. So the basics for building good, successful, long-term relationships. Number one, commitment. Number two, communication. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. No, number one is communication. Number two is follow-up. And now we're into number three, which I already gave it to you. It is commitment. So we'll write that up here. Commitment. Commitment. So when you've already communicated with a person and you've already, listened to them, they've spoken with you, and life is kind of getting off onto the good track. You're starting to build this relationship, just getting into the very beginning moments of it. And then, the ball got left in your court, so to speak. So now you were following up with them. And then, they say, what, sure, let's just use a dinner example again. They said, sure, we'd love to have you. Can you come over for dinner? You said, I'd love to. Now, the next thing is that both of you, just like communication is a two-way street, commitment is a two-way street as well. So now they're going to have you over. So they're going to commit to prepare a meal for you, and you're going to commit to show up when you say you're going to show up. Now, this is one thing we hear in the field all the time here at Nashville Dirtworks, is that there's people just not showing up. Not with our company, but with other companies, they're just not showing up. People are not doing what they say they'll do, whether it's the job. They're not showing up when they say they'll show up. And that's a very difficult thing. If you can't show up, if you're on the side of the contractor, if you cannot show up, then please give the client a call and just say, listen, we're not going to be able to make it at this certain time when I told you we're going to be able to make it because of X, Y, and Z's happened, or whatever. And make sure those are real examples. Make sure those are, because all along the way through the communication and through the follow-up, you want to operate in, and I think 3 different areas really are highly important. First of all, honesty, integrity, and gratitude. So just kind of taking a sidestep from the communication and the follow-up, and now we're into the commitment. When you operate with a level of honesty, integrity, and gratitude, first of all, you're saying, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you no matter what, whether it's good or bad or right or wrong, or the thing gets crazy or everything's wonderful. I'm going to be honest. And people appreciate honesty and integrity and just being real. Go back to saying again, just be real. And then at the same time, have a level of gratitude about you and humility, that you're thankful for the opportunity they've given you to work a job. Now back to the client business relationship. You're thankful for the opportunity that they've given you to do this work for them, or to have this service to them, or to sell this product to them. Because if it wasn't for the customer, if it wasn't for the client, we and others would not be in business doing what we do. So be thankful, have a level of gratitude, be appreciative for this opportunity. And you know what? There's going to come up times when things happen and problems happen. Don't dodge those problems. Don't dodge those obstacles. Jump into those obstacles, because they are opportunities for you guys to grow, for you to build a better relationship than you already have. So if you handle those obstacles correctly. So it's very important when obstacles come up. I know we're a little bit sidetracked here, but when obstacles come up, hey, pick up the phone, call them. Shoot a quick email. Say, hey, what's going on? Let's talk about it. Let's meet together. How can we resolve this issue or problem or need or whatever the case may be, and address those as they come up. Don't run for those, because that's where the relationship starts to go south so many times, when you run from your problems, run from the obstacles, run from the issues, etc. So address those, get your relationship back on track. Remember, building good relationships, some of the basics are communication, follow-up, commitment. You have committed to follow. I'm fixing to get into it. I almost gave you the 4th one here, but now you're committed to do, whether it's the job for them, you're committed to go over to dinner with your friends, you're committed to take your kids to school, or you're committed to your spouse for life. Keep those commitments. Now, the 4th thing that kind of goes in line with the communication, the follow-up, the commitment, is the follow through. So here we go. Follow through, I'll write up here. And I'm going to abbreviate through because I'm running out of board space. But anyways, follow through, okay? So you've committed. Let's just take back to a business example where, let's say you've gone out, you're a service business, and you've gone out to the client, you met with the potential client, you met with the customer, and you're on site, so you're doing some great communication. And so this is a hypothetical, of course. You're doing some great communication with them, and you're starting to build a relationship. You're listening to them. You're seeing their problems and their issues that they're sharing with you, and you're, instead of selling, you're looking at more so on the solving aspect. So now it becomes more natural because they don't see you as a salesperson. They see you as on their team trying to help resolve their issues at hand or their needs at hand through your services, etc. So you've built that relationship. You started building the relationship through communication. Now you're going to follow up. You've expressed how you, through your company, through your business, can begin to make this issue go away, make this problem disappear. And you're going to follow up with them because what you're trying to do is you want to get them to see that you can truly make a difference in their life. And this relationship is not just surface, it goes a lot deeper than that because you've got commitment coming. If they are willing to make a commitment and put their trust in what you can do as business or service or product for them, then you can go through. And now next we are going to the follow through. So you've got to the point, they've made the commitment, they've signed the agreement, or they've said, yes, I want your service, or yes, I want your product, or back to the example where, yes, I want to come over and have dinner tonight, those kind of things. Now it's the follow through. And sometimes this can be the place where it really gets sticky if you don't follow through. You follow through just the way you committed and said that you would. So if you said you're going to do XYZ, then do XYZ when you said that you would do XYZ, so to speak. So the follow through is very important because the follow through is one of the final stages of this whole building relationship moment before it circles back around to the communication and you go on to the next subject or the next item or the next avenue of life, so to speak. So the follow through is very important. And all along the way, as I mentioned before, whether you're in the communication zone or you're in the follow-up moment or if you're in the commitment moment or in the follow-through, honesty, integrity, gratitude, and humility. Those 4 words, and if you're not totally familiar with all the definitions and the outlook of what goes into those words and the descriptions, look them up and check it out and just really kind of bathe in that, if you will, because that'll really help you and help all of us continue to think about how we can always be honest, always operate in a high level of integrity, and always be thankful, operate in gratitude that we have what we have been given, and be grateful for their client, be grateful for the relationship, be grateful for building this relationship with this person. So if you're seeking and trying to figure out how the basics of building good relationships, building successful relationships, whether it's with your family or with your friends or with your spouse or with future clients or ongoing customer base and that type of thing, if you're interested in doing that, these are the things that I would really recommend. JC Runquist here with NashvilleDirtWorks.com. Also, I'd like to invite you, if this video has meant something to you or helped you out in any way, please hit subscribe down there. We would love to have you on our channel. We would love to be able to present more things to you that would benefit, not just maybe something with the dirt work business and the landscape and everything exterior of your home, so to speak, but more so, we're just not about building landscapes, etc. We're about building lives, and that's where it's really at. So the basics on building good, successful relationships: communicate, follow up, commitment, and follow through. Operate in honesty, integrity, gratitude, and be humble and thankful that you have this opportunity. And I want to tell you today, I'm thankful and humble that I have this opportunity to share this with you today. And your blessing. Have a great, wonderful day. Be awesome out there and make a difference. JC Runquist, NashvilleDirtWorks.com.